Hello, hello, hello. This is the Life Calling Coach, and I am here with your self care check in for May 2024. I am going to give you your reading for your mind, body, and spirit, what God has for you for this coming spring season. Oh my goodness, the weather is beautiful. God is speaking, the birds are humming. Aren't you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, so I want you to only take what resonates with you because this is a general reading for the collective. Take what resonates with you and leave what does not. And if you're interested in a personal reading, the link is in the description below. So let's get into it. Let's see what God has for you for May 2024. Aunt Nancy. Aunt Nancy is the shadow of betrayal. She hails from the temple of shadows. And when we're dealing with the shadow side, sometimes it can come out like it's your monstrous side. But there are gifts in your monstrous side as well. And it's not something that we should be afraid of. Now, Aunt Nancy is number 20 in the deck, and her element is air, and that's learning. What are we going to learn from Aunt Nancy today? Okay, let's talk about betrayal. Who really betrayed you? Your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend. Who really betrayed you? Because betrayals from others mirrors you betraying yourself. Because with just about any betrayal, you can trace it back to a decision. I've had to deal with this coming through my PTSD journey. Because at the end of things, especially when I separated from my man, it was difficult because I was sitting in betrayal. And at that point it was, of course, looking at him as being the betrayer. Um, However, betrayals of others mirrors you betraying yourself. So let's get into this and I'm going to explain to you a little more about how. So, betrayal is a web that disrupts everything that you thought. Everything. Betrayal is a web that disrupts everything you thought because now you're thinking, you wake up and everything has changed and you're like, I thought we were doing this, but now we're not doing this, or this was what I thought we were, and now you're telling me today, oh, that's not it. So then you start to question everything. every 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 everything. You go back and you retrace, oh well, they said this to me, so that wasn't true. Oh, and they said that to me, so that wasn't true. You're going to question everything after you've been through a betrayal. But you have to use discernment in your relationships. When you use your discernment, that's where you're going to be able to discern when you're in your thoughts because I'm emotional, when you're in your mind versus, okay, what's really going on here? And you tapping into your spirit when God is showing you and revealing you, first of all, why you're in this cycle of betrayal. And then what you need to learn from it. Because like I said, this is the element of air. And anytime you're dealing with a betrayal cycle, there's something you need to learn there. Because most of the time, you had a hand in getting yourself into it. Okay? So betrayal, though, makes it difficult for you to trust. But without trust, your relationships are just a lie. So let's use, for example, I'm going to use a example of a friendship. I'm not going to go into an intimate relationship example, but example of a friendship. Okay, you got maybe your BFF or um, and you find out that, oh, oh, I thought she had or he had my back, and then you go and you find out something that looks like they betrayed you. Maybe they told something you thought that will hold in confidence, and you find out it was repeated and you feel betrayed, right? Okay, so then you go through your process of it, and maybe you do have a conversation with your friend and you find out what the real truth was. But at this point, after this happens, you're going to be like, I'm not going to share anything else with them. Not anything personal, not anything that I wouldn't want to have repeated, because now you're not going to trust them. Now, what happens if you decide now that the trust has been violated, and you remember and you decide I'm going to stay in this friendship? Or if you just, I'm not saying you have to cut them off. Now, I'm be careful with this because I'm not saying you have to cut them off. What I'm saying is you stay in the relationship. Maybe you work through the misunderstanding, but now you're going to have difficulty with trusting. So I think that what you need to do in that situation is you have to really then use your discernment to determine, do I continue this relationship? I mean, are you going to be able to continue a relationship so it doesn't be a lie if you're not going to trust the way you need to? And it also depends on the type of relationship. So, being truthful about how you feel first with yourself is the most important thing, because if you don't trust the person, then why would you go and put yourself back into a vulnerable position with them? Okay, that's something you have to really sit with yourself, really sit with yourself in your spirit and get discernment on, because trust, no matter what happens and no matter how long it takes, you will survive and thrive. You have to trust that no matter what happened and no matter how long it takes, you will thrive and survive. You will be able to move past the betrayal. Once you come into the acceptance of it, once you come into, okay, this is why, this is the why. Sometimes what looks like betrayal can be karma to us too. If we open certain doors in our process in our relationship, it can be trauma, it can be karma coming back to you, and then you're thinking, oh, they did something to me and they betrayed me. But no, this is just your karma coming back. You have to trust that no matter what happens, you will thrive and survive. Okay, but the real question is, how have you betrayed or abandoned yourself? We're so busy looking at what others have done to us, and instead of looking at what you've done to self. Okay.